Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out this awesome knife right here. It's a Congress, four-bladed Congress in the days type of scale pattern, and it is just a fantastic, awesome knife. It's also rare, so we're going to talk about a little bit about that. What makes this rare? What is a rare knife? We'll throw that out there for you guys, and maybe look at some comparisons to other pretty knives that have similar type of patterns like this, and let you guys decide. But just an awesome Congress knife. Uh, Dates back to 1985. So if you'd like to see that video, go ahead and check it out. All right, welcome back to the Fortified Castle Hide, all my viewers. Really appreciate you guys for dropping in. We're going to look at this awesome knife today. It's a large Congress, so that sets it in a category by itself. So large Congresses, you don't see a lot of them in vintage knives. I'm not really sure why, but most of them are medium to small. And so these are kind of, scarce to find a big old Congress knife. Of course, nowadays, they're making them more, and it's a little easier to find them. But back in the day, they didn't make a lot of these, but that makes this kind of special. But really what makes this special is it's a rare knife. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Maybe before I get into the knife, I'll talk about what makes a knife rare, just to bring you guys up to steam on that. And, maybe you're wondering if the knife you have is rare. So, rare knives. There's a bunch of different reasons why a knife might be considered rare. But it really only boils down to a couple reasons, and one has to do with how many there are of the knives, and the other one is age. So the older a knife is, more likely it is to be rare, and of course, the less of them out there, the more it's going to be considered rare. So, but there's a number of different reasons. It could be rare because of the person who made it. And so, take John Eck knives. He made some fixed blade knives for troops in World War II. So he made a bunch of them, maybe even 1,000, but he just didn't make a lot. And so to have a John Eck knife, it's just a rare knife to get a hold of. Most of them were used in the war. There's not too many of them around, so there you have that scarcity. But that's one reason why a knife might be rare. Who made it? And so some people just didn't make a lot of knives. It could be the company. So there's some companies out there that weren't in business for very long. Sometimes only a year, sometimes maybe 3 years. And so the knives are rare just for that fact. But again, because they were only in business for a couple of years, they didn't make a lot of knives. And so it boils down to how many of these things are out there. So I do have rare knives, mainly based on age. So if you have a knife from 1850, there aren't too many of them around anymore. And so they're going to be scarce, and some are rare because of that reason. But sometimes, there's just not a lot of these knives made. And so it's not the company who made them. It's not the time frame. It's just they didn't make a lot. And that's the case with this knife here. Only 36 of these knives were made. This is a Bulldog Brand. Bulldog Brand, you separate into 3 or 4 different time frames. And this was an original. So the originals were made between 1978 and 1987. And this is a 1985. But of this model, it's a BK330. Only 36 were made. So I have a number of rare knives. I don't know that many would fit into this category. I think this is the only knife I have that would be considered rare simply because not a lot of them were made. And I think most of mine are so old that because most of them didn't survive and there are very few around, that's the reason why they're rare. So this is pretty cool. I think it's the only one that I have like this. I may have other ones, I don't know. But I know this one is. So you have a Congress pattern. You can see the sway back on it right here. It's kind of large, 4¼ inches. Give you an idea. Here is a case 75 next to it. They're both the same size, 4¼ inches. And that's how they look together right there. And so it's a 4-bladed Congress. That's a normal pattern, I think, for a Congress. Sometimes they have 2 blades. They're called half Congresses. It has pinch bolsters, and it also has a thread on the bolster right here. That's a thread. And then you can see the pinch. It has a tobacco leaf with tobacco on it. And manufacturer called this In the Days pattern. And it is celluloid. And you can see how it reflects there. I actually think this is mother of pearl right here. I think they put in a chunk of mother of pearl. It looks like that to me. And then some other coloring here. And you have nickel silver pins, nickel silver bolster, and shield, and then nickel silver liners on this. You can see a little bit of gap in here. It looks to me like it's been bent. So this is a knife that's been used. I'll show you that when we look at the blades. But there's the back. And one time they were polished. I don't know whether you can see it, but there's some usage wear on there. You see it right there. So this also at one time had a little bit of rust on it. It didn't have any when I bought it. So somebody must have taken it off. All right, so you got 2 main blades. They're both sheep's foot, which is standard for a Congress knife. And then they would have 2 smaller blades, either a pin or a cupping blade or something like that. And that's pretty typical for Congress knives. But really good action on this. It's really, really made well. These early Bulldog Brand knives were made in the Obert's factory in the 80s, and Obert's was the manufacturer who manufactured Robert Class knives. He manufactured what am I trying to think of here? I'll think of it in a minute. Here's a tank stamp. So these tank stamps changed a little bit. Let me see. There you go. Bulldog Brand, Hammer Forge, Solingen, Germany is a stamp on this. And over time, Dorton quit making these to start Bluegrass Cutlery, and so eventually Parker bought the brand and took it over, and they dropped the Hammer Forge and had surgical steel there instead. Every blade is marked because that's what's traditionally done. It has a deep mirror polish. You can see right there. There's some etching here, probably caused, you see it right there, probably caused by acid from fruit, and a nice tobacco etch right there. And that's the main trademark, two bulldogs fighting. And every blade is marked. You can see that right there. Again, over time, in around 1995, they went to just one bulldog because of the fighting dog kind of controversy back in that time. It's, oh my gosh, dogs, you're fighting dogs, you're a horrible person. So they went to a standing bulldog at that time. That ran to about 2000, and then they changed it back to these fighting dogs. And really nice pen blade there. You can see that deep, deep etch or polish. You can read things on that polish. Really nice. That is a big pen blade too. So let me just show you. Let's see if I can find a pen blade. So here's a GEC, and that's pen blade next to that. And I don't have a pen blade from Case, but I have Spey. You can see right there. Huge pen blade on these, really cool. Really nice walk and talk on this knife. One of the things, you see these little spots on here. Now maybe, you know, the guy was cutting fruit and the acid kind of etched the blade a little. But I really find that these knives made in Germany in the 80s, they tend to rust. And so you can see the pitting there from the rust. There's the nice swedge. And look at that very thin, precise edge on that. Very well done on these knives. Look at that. Let me see here. Okay. This is actually the back side of the knife. And that's the last pen blade right there. Really, really nice knives. These things are just made so well. So before I close, I wanted to just look at some other really pretty knives made out of different materials, because I just don't think you can beat this celluloid. This is not the celluloid from the 1920s. This is celluloid actate, so it's a lot more durable. But I have seen knives like these who have disintegrated. The celluloid has disintegrated. So I guess that is possible with these knives. But I've got 4 of them. I have not had any problem with them over a long period of time. So I think you'd be safe with these pretty much. And if you're not, hey, you can always put a different handle on there, you know, and you still have a wonderful knife. I think it's a shame not to buy a knife because it has celluloid. Just take the handle off. You've got the knife, a really great quality knife, and put a different handle material on it. But let me show you some different ones. So this is a perlite curl from Case. You can see the sparkles in there. And pretty much this is a plastic in which they put in a bunch of different mediums, paint, things like that. You could even put metal in there, but it's pretty nice. But you just don't get the deep, clear resonance that you get off of a celluloid. Look at the difference in these knives. And let's see, I got another one. let's look at this. So this is the acrylic from GEC. Just a beautiful acrylic on this. This is a Schaefer Farm whittler. And I just don't think you could beat that. The celluloid knives, they just look so much better. Here's a Parker. This is basically just like acrylic over a medium. He's got some sparkly stuff in the bottom here. You can tell it's on the bottom. And then acrylic over the top. And it just doesn't carry the same beauty that this celluloid does. And then finally, you have this Rough Rider. Not really sure what this is, but some type of thermoplastic, and they've embedded it with different kind of mediums there. You can see that right there. Looks really good, but it just doesn't carry the beauty that this celluloid does. And that's one of the reasons I bought these knives is you can find them, the Bulldog Brand, you can find them in stag, you can find them in bone, you can find them in wood, different mediums that they used for their knives. I picked up a few of them all in celluloid because I just wanted to see. All the celluloid I had is from the 1940s, pre-1940. And I just wanted to see what it looked like new. And it's just absolutely fantastic. Look at that. A little bit of blue right there. Is that cool? Snap in. All right, guys. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Rare knife, only 36 made. Very fortunate to have it. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you in the next video.